All right, you guys, in this video, I'm really lucky. I get to sit down and just talk all things Hostfully, the guidebooks, the PM software, all that stuff. I get to interview Margot, the CEO. She's an amazing woman. I cannot wait to just wrap out. So stay tuned. Thank you so much. I briefly got to meet you in Vegas. I've been a huge fan of Hostfully. I started in the guidebooks, now I'm on the PM, and I just love the entire company. Like, everybody's so energized, they have a good attitude, and I'm honored to get you face to face on a call, well, a Zoom to Zoom, whatever you want to call it, and just chat. I'm excited. So if you want to introduce yourself and what this is all about.
Yeah, well, the privilege is mine, John. We're equally as big of a fan of you. I follow you on all your channels and everything, and I love watching videos of you repaving driveways and stuff like that too. So, seriously, I love that kind of stuff. I actually worked at an architecture firm a long time ago, so I'm way into construction. My name is Margot Schmorak. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Hostfully. I have two other co-founders, David and Steph. And we started Hostfully with the idea that we wanted to just make travel better. So David and Steph and I all have a background in technology. Steph worked at Netscape. David worked at another company that did wellness programs. I worked at Apple. I've worked mostly recently at ServiceSource. And for me personally, I saw my career going down this path of like working in tech, but just not having a real connection to the mission of the company that I was working with. And I wanted to do something better. So I met David, and he's an Airbnb superhost, still is to this day. He manages, I guess it's like 4 listings or so, depending on the configuration. And he was working on this idea around guest communication and how to optimize the hospitality experience. Because he was like, I have all these guests coming and I have to spend this like 10 or 15 minutes explaining all this stuff. What if I make this like really crappy guidebook, that would just explain the basic stuff. And then I can tell the people who are staying with me about like the really cool coffee shop around the corner, or like the special secret tour they can get, in San Francisco. So he made like a really low fidelity guidebook. And that actually was the fundamental start of our first product, which was our Hostfully digital guidebooks, which I know you're a huge fan of. And we worked on that together. And I like so excited to work on a product that helps people. Just helps people, period. Like I was working on a product that more than like the other product I was working on, it basically helped like analysts and stockholders become richer for like blue chip companies, which is like, adds value and there's money there. But like, I didn't feel like I could like put my finger on at the end of the day, what am I doing? And so that's why David and I started the company together. And then we pivoted in 2018 to merging with a company called Orbi Rental, which had property management software. And now we have those two products together. We've been operating under the umbrella of Hostfully for a long time now, since 2018. But we have our main product, which is actually the property management software. And then our other product, which is the digital guidebooks. And like for the entrepreneurs out there, which you all are, if you're thinking about renting an Airbnb, it's a long haul, so you have to like find these reasons why you're passionate about it. And for me, the other big thing that I really care about is I want to have work-life balance for everybody on my team. And I myself have 3 kids. I am very present with my family. And I want to believe that companies can be started by people who are not, 25-year-old dudes in a garage without any other life responsibilities. And that nothing against them, but just like, I just think there's better ways. There should be a way for different founders to start these companies, not just that one archetype.
Funny that you touch on that, because that's why I got into this business, the vacation rental business, because I just wanted more time back. I was like, I was working in another business doing products and building a fashion brand. It was 24/7 nonstop. And I'm like, this is not a good way of life. Like, and then once you did the Airbnb business, when I first started, I was like doing what he was doing, messaging guests the same thing over and over again. And then once you got the guidebook, I'm like, ooh, I just got like hours and hours of time back. And the guests are having a way better experience. And then the PM, right? And then the PM with the auto messaging and linking. It's like, oh, this is how it should be. I worked like 3 hours a week on that kind of stuff. And I can build everything else. Yeah. So it's funny to touch on that, because I definitely appreciate my time. I feel you.
Well, and I think the cool thing about hospitality is that it forces you to do the things that don't scale first. So like your first few guests will influence like how your business runs, like, what amenities you stock and like how you manage check-in and stuff. And it gives you an opportunity to like understand what is not scalable in your business, some of that stuff, and then what is scalable. So like, if every guest asks about the Wi-Fi, like just put the Wi-Fi in the guidebook. Or, if they all need an airport transfer, like maybe you should go out and get a partnership with somebody who will do like airport transfers and you can take a cut of that money. But like each hospitality business is its own special snowflake and it needs its own like love and care. And I think the cool thing about starting an Airbnb business is that you get to do it yourself and learn so much about what makes your business really successful. And then you can figure out how to make a lot of money from that. Like many people have, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's been great to me. And it just gets better with these kind of platforms, doing it all by yourself. I remember, holy cow, making guidebooks in Photoshop and taking me weeks and weeks to design it. And then I would change something in my house. And then I'm like, oh, great. Now I got to rechange my whole guidebook. So much work.
I know. The worst is those beautiful printed books that they cost a lot of money, and then you got to like update it. So anyway, we're solving that problem. So I'm excited.
I would love to chat a little bit on the actual PM, right? Because like I said, I'm new into the PM, and that was another reason why I wanted to get you on the call, because it's really fresh to me too. And a lot of people that I've been talking with are just now joining this space and are looking at platforms or considering different platforms. And I've been really happy switching over. I had like 9 properties on another system and started bringing that over. The onboarding was phenomenal. I mean, because I'll be totally honest, I was very nervous. I was like, oh gosh, this is going to be so scary. I got to switch everything over. Like, this is overwhelming. But you guys do a really good job breaking it down in onboarding. So the different levels of hosting, like, if somebody's just now starting off, why would they consider using Hostfully right away? And then as they grow, if you can kind of touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. So this is a very overwhelming industry. And I'll be honest with you, I was also overwhelmed, even when I was out pitching a software company in the industry. It's just, there's a lot going on. There's also a lot of terminology, words, categories that are kind of used, but they're not really clear. Like, what is a channel manager versus a PMS, property management software? And PMS is a terrible acronym anyway. But anyway, there's just a lot going on. So if you are just getting started, the real important thing to focus on is like, know who your typical customer is and think about, how you should be pricing your unit. And once you figured that out, then you're like ready to expand to multiple channels. You're ready to probably bring on a property management software to help you automate your messaging, to help you facilitate your payments, to help you get to those different channels like booking.com and Vrbo on top of Airbnb. But I think it's like just get a sense for like what your own seasonality is and kind of like what your terms are, your non-negotiables are. Like, you have a 3-night stay minimum or something like that. Like, what are those things? Once you have a sense for that, then you're ready to kind of professionalize the business. And that's when you would want to come use Hostfully property management platform. Before that period, go use Hostfully guidebooks, and you can use the paid version or the free version, whatever. Like, that's great. But like, if you're kind of dabbling, that's where you're at. If you're kind of taking it seriously, you're looking for patterns, you're looking for optimization, you're looking for ways to get like more out of that business of yours, then I think you need property management software. And we started Hostfully with the really clear intention that we want to be a platform, which means that you can use the basic functionality in Hostfully to do so many things. You can set up automated templates and triggers for your emails and SMS and WhatsApp communication. You can get to all the channels you want. You can hook in all the integration partners that you want, but you also can just like do nothing. So the basic level is like a good starting point. As your business scales and grows, you can layer on like a professional insurance provider. You can layer on, dynamic pricing. You can layer on other amenities, rentals that you're going to get more money from, like storage, or luggage storage or baby rental equipment or whatever other categories you want. There's a lot. But I think I think that people wait a little too long to professionalize, kind of like the experience you had. Like, our company is built with staff to help you get started with that basic platform. And that's kind of where you are. I mean, it's just like, there's a way that we will help you get started. We actually just expanded our onboarding services too. So in addition to getting one-on-one onboarding like you got, now we offer group onboarding sessions. So you don't have to wait to schedule an appointment. So we're offering like every Monday, there's a group onboarding session, and every Wednesday and Friday, we have open office hours. So you can go a little bit more at your own pace. And those are on top of our onboarding services. So I would say like, you know, like we will help you, like, don't be overwhelmed. It is a lot. And I respect that. But when you're ready to professionalize and really dig in and make the commitment, it will help you get there. No matter what size your business is.
Yeah. And in my personal opinion, I think it's good to start right away. One property. If you ever think you're going to add another property down the road, trust me, it is a lot easier to start with one and slowly figure it out than have 9 that are fully booked and then try to switch over, you know. But luckily it was still relatively easy because you are familiar with it. But starting a good foundation from day one, just in this industry, just makes total sense.
Yeah. And we have lots of customers who've gone from like 1 to 40, 1 to 60, 1 to 80 with us. And so like we are good for growth.
Wow, that's cool.
I can
you just integrate with like everybody. It's so impressive. Like I was using Wheelhouse, and I know with Wheelhouse, a good example, you know, the problems with it not syncing correctly with Airbnb anymore or VRBO and whatever. And you guys integrate, and it was so easy to connect that. And then, you know, with the direct booking website, which was another scary task, but it made it so easy with Hostfully to sync straight into Boostly. And it just made that process so easy. And then, yeah, you guys have a really clean integration part of it with, you know, the smart locks, the minute, the NoiseAware, like, man, it's just like an all-in-one system instead of having to open up 9,000 different apps all the time. Was just like really easy to use. For me, it was like really game changer. It was nice to see all that in one.
Yeah, and we were chatting earlier, but I have this, maybe we can flash up some of the slides from this presentation that I did before, where it shows like a map of all the different software players. Well, it might not be all of them, I will caveat it, but it's most of the software platform players in the industry. And I think it'll be helpful for your viewers to just see like the huge variety of different companies that are offering software to Airbnb and property management specialists. But really what I love to think about is the different categories within that. And you touched on a bunch of them, like home automation is huge in terms of like saving time, and like being able to manage your rental remotely can be life-changing, right? But then there's like turnover management, there's pricing optimization, there's revenue management, there's guest verification services, there's like insurance providers. So of just things to consider, and you don't have to start all of them at once. Like you said, like, you know, for your own business, what's going to make a big difference, but at least knowing the categories and knowing like, oh, like I thought that, I don't know, the messaging could work well enough, but then I realized I need guest verification too, right? Okay, well, so there's companies out there that will help you with that.
Yeah, that's cool. And you kind of touched on it, but remote work from wherever, anywhere, anytime. Congrats on the app launch. Like that was one thing I was excited, because I'm literally on my phone 24/7. Like the other day I was mountain biking pretty far, and also I got a little message from Hostfully, and it's like, you have a booking, and I'm like, right there on my mountain bike, just pulled over and was able to, you know, message him, chat back and forth the questions. And then I was like, okay, this is the lifestyle I enjoy. And
thank you. I'm so glad you love it. It was something that it took us a lot longer to get out there than we would have liked, but we did it well. So I guess you can say that's good. From my perspective, it was like, oh my gosh, what is this gonna get done? But we're really proud of it. You know, we've got great reviews, great ratings. You can see you can go into the app store and just look
so
Hostfully. Cool. And I have it already downloaded. So, but yeah,
and we're just really down below too. You guys definitely should go check it out and start playing around with it, because it's game changing. And I'm sure with an app, it's probably never ending. It's probably always revolving, things tweaking, changing. Like it's got to be a living beast. I'm not a tech savvy too much, but
It is and it isn't though. I think like we had actually the product person who worked on it, the designer, she is a daily user of Hostfully. So she knows the problems that we're trying to solve, and we were thrilled to be working with her because she can lend that expertise of being an actual user into developing the product. And that's something that like David and Steph and I all have properties that we rent. And so I'm actually the least experienced of the three of us, to be totally honest with you. But David and Steph do rent like all the time. So they're living and breathing the same challenges that our customers face. And we shortcut a lot of innovation because of that.
Wow, that's really cool. You just shared that. That's interesting because you guys are actually in the business, working on the business, which obviously is going to reflect on the programs that you guys are building because you guys are actually users. That's really cool. And you're hearing, and you guys do a really good job of listening to feedback. I see the forum that you have that people can chime in with questions and updates. And I know for myself, like creating content, you guys are always there when I'm asking questions. You're willing to like navigate and listen and change things. It's really cool. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense by you guys actually doing the business and building the problem. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
cool.
And there's so much complexity in the way that software tools need to work together in this industry. Like if you get a booking from a booking platform and then there's like a message attached to it, it's like, is that a regular guest message or is it an inquiry message? And like, what should be shown should there be an automated reply or should it be like a reply that you have to respond to manually? And like, what if the message is like accidentally fails on its way to us, right? Like, how do we handle that? Like, when does it show up in the inbox? It's so complicated. So actually we had this like really funny error last weekend and David sent this really funny Slack message to everybody and he's like, I struck gold because I found the error. Like I think I figured out what was going on, because it's like you have to be in the weeds and really understanding like the little nitty gritty things to be able to design products, right? But like without that deep expertise and understanding of the property manager, like we wouldn't be able to do that. So totally. It's a blessing and a curse because we know, there's so many things we want to do better and differently, like there's so many improvements that we want to do. So it's like just about like getting it in line and like prioritizing things the right way. But we were very passionate.
You can drop some gems here and share some secret knowledge, Don't share the secret knowledge. What's coming?
Well, I can give a few like insider things about what's coming. So we are really close to launching Google as a direct channel, which is really exciting.
Wow.
So you can be featured like on the direct search results for Google. We have a lot more improvements to the mobile app. So right now the mobile app primarily has the inbox. It has a calendar where you can view and like look at reservations. You can make a block. It's kind of like it sort of does the job, but it's not that amazing. But the next iteration will have like better pipeline management. You can like respond to messages with templates and triggers. There's a number of like more sophisticated enhancements that we'll be adding to that. Also, people haven't seen our product in a while. We just launched a beautiful new calendar. I'm sure you've seen it, where it shows like
calendar is nice.
Yeah, it's like a much more robust calendar. So you can like set minimum stay, you can filter to different properties, you can set different criteria for those properties within the calendar. Because we know that property managers live and breathe in the calendar. So we're working on that a lot too.
Totally. Could you explain a little bit what makes you guys so different? I mean, I know why I like certain things, but I'm just curious, what makes you guys different to compare to some of the other options out there? Because there is different scattered options. Oh, you're going to get it. Yes, yeah. I love it. Yes.
I'll show you our awards. So let me think about the award.
It's a good one. You should wear that around your neck.
Yeah, seriously. So this is the Shorties Award that we won in 2022 for Best Property Management System. And that was like, looking at lots of property management software companies out there, innovation, growth, customer satisfaction. We've done really well. We have also won some awards with Gartner Software Advice for Frontrunner. So that was really cool. We actually weren't at the ceremony when this was given out, but that's okay. And then the next one is this. I actually have a second one in behind me. I don't know if you can see it, but this is for the VRBO preferred partner status. We have preferred partner status with Booking and Airbnb, but they don't send us a plaque. It's okay.
Still waiting for that. You
might be like, well, what the hell is that, Margot? I really did not appreciate that award or what that meant until I was working in this business. And we have relationships with 40 different software companies, but what this preferred partner status does for us is it basically puts us first in line to know about the product roadmap of our partners. And for Vrbo, for Airbnb, for Booking.com, where we hold that status, it means that the relationship, both just like trust relationship, people to people, but also the technical relationship is really solid. So we have like really few errors. We handle their data really well. We adopt new features within a time frame that they like. We have a certain amount of volume, right? So we're adding new properties in a way that they're excited about. So that puts us in good standing so that we can deliver value to you who really need those integration partnerships to work really well. And that's actually a question that you should be asking any software company you work with, like what's the quality of your partnerships and how do you measure it? So they can answer that. But I didn't want to forget about our third award here, which is our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Impact Award that we got from VRMA. And this one was really cool because it's close to my heart. I am really passionate about bringing more inclusion to the world and making the world a more fair and equitable place for everybody. So we won that last year too. Wanted to finish with that one.
I heard that. I was there. I saw
Oh
that.
yeah,
In Vegas. I was so lucky to meet so many of you guys then, and everybody has been amazing, from the customer service to the onboarding to you guys. You can tell it's a very tight family. It doesn't feel like this big company, right? Which it is. Yeah. So to have those values is pretty amazing. I don't know if you can touch on this at all, but it just made me think about it when we were talking. But how do you feel about the climate and the way the advocacy and the policy and laws like that are changing? And do you feel a little bit of responsibility also as a company that's talking with managers all the time to get involved and be a voice? I'm just really curious on that.
Yeah, we've actually had varying degrees of involvement, but when we've done something really big this year, which is that we are the first property management software company this year to do the right to rent program. So you can like turn on a thing where you are donating $1 to the VRMA Advocacy Fund through Hostfully. We were like one of just a handful of companies to do that this year. My co-founder David is on the advocacy committee for VRMA, and he's been really, really active in local advocacy work. Actually, if you like Google his name, he'll come up in a bunch of like New York Times articles around like Airbnb and short-term rentals and what it means for the world. The real enemy here is not bad guests or anything else. It's actually the hotel lobby industry. So hotels have a lot of money. They're the incumbent. They're doing things to try and exclude short-term rentals because they view it as competitive. So there's been a lot of press that has exaggerated some of the small and insignificant negative impacts of short-term rentals. Like in Lake Tahoe, there was an example was somebody analyzed the department that the fire department data that was like for noise complaints, and they said like how many noise complaints are from short-term rentals and how many are from locals, and actually like the hotel lobby said, oh, it's all from short-term rentals, but it turned out like 95% of it was actually from local residents. And they were sort of like not really presenting the data in a very fair way. And so, should there be more common sense legislation for short-term rentals? Absolutely. Should short-term rentals have to pay taxes? Yes. But should it be fair and equitable with what hotels are paying? Yes, right? I mean, this is just another industry. It's just a newer industry. And so my feeling on this is like, we need to continue to advocate for fair and common sense legislation. And I think that the more proactive we can be as an industry, the better it will be. And I don't think that this industry has a great track record of kind of coming to the table in a proactive way. So like, we got to work on that together. And I know it ranges hugely. I mean, like where I'm at, I have a home in Sonoma, like there's a moratorium on new rentals right now, which I think is like stupid. But it's because nobody's come to the table with this like concrete and like whole story about what it really means. So I just think there's more work to be done, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm really glad I asked that, because we have a group here in Arizona. We're a statewide build in Arizona, and our membership is growing. And there's so much education on the city councils and the mayors and the governors, trying to educate them of who we are and what we really stand for and help protect laws. And then, we're meeting with so many different types of cities. And that's another reason why I like aligning myself with Hostfully, because I do see that you guys are advocate and promoting the good. And it's really important to align yourself with a company that your values are represented as well. And it's awesome to hear that, because I know you guys do a lot of work, and I love that integration that you can donate. It's so cool. Off topic, can you, with that integration, let's say there's a statewide in Arizona, can members who use Hostfully in Arizona have that connect to if we're a 501c, or is that way tricky?
Well, not really. No, not actually. It's kind of done in like a pretty low key way right now with right to rent. So, but like any rent, but you could encourage people to like add a fee, and then they just give you the funding for it. It's actually an interesting idea. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, it's so cool.
And like those kind of things that we would be happy to like mention in our newsletter. You know, like we have a newsletter that goes out to like tens of thousands of property managers and stuff. But it's, you know, it's a shame because politics has this like nasty cycle where it's like hot and not, you know, and it's like the issues don't get addressed until they're like on fire. And what we're talking about is like setting a new framework for legislation, and that just takes time and thought. And it's unfortunately that's just not the way that it happens. It happens in these hearings, and it's like who can show up on a Tuesday night, you know, to do it.
It's crazy. Never in a million years did I think I would be studying about all of that and being a voice and being down the city hall the night before at 6 p.m. and staying there till midnight trying to just have 5 words. But I see how important it really was. We were really lucky with our group to make a lot of positive impact to protect, but then like you said, make reasonable regulations that make sense for the opposing side, to our side, the government side. Yeah, it's a topic that I get super passionate about for sure, and I could talk about it forever. And it's such a massive learning curve as well, is what I've learned. Especially, there's just a lot of hosts that don't really know, and it's like who are we blaming here? Are we blaming the person that just doesn't know? There's no education. Is it our responsibility to kind of come together a lot more and educate? So yeah, it's such an interesting, but I love that about you guys. And it's really cool.
Well, I think the right to rent little initiative there is cool too, because it's not just on the property managers, it's also on all the travelers who are taking advantage of these new kinds of accommodation to usher in a new era where like that is professionalized, right? So like property managers are professionalizing, that's great, but like travelers also need to like get on board too. And the more we can just raise awareness about that. So I mean, you know, it would be really cool, actually just spitballing a little bit, is like if there was some really high quality publication that would just be like left in every Airbnb, right? That just says like, hey, you know, we think short-term rentals should be able to exist everywhere. You know, here's some information about that. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be like referendums, there's going to be votes, there's going to be like candidates that are elected or not elected based on some of these issues. And it would be nice if it wasn't just on the property managers, it's also on the travelers too.
Yeah, I've been a big push on that. Like I take every step possible to avoid the quote unquote bad guest or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you know, if I put all those steps in place, but then it slips through the crack and something happens, like who is to blame at that point? Because I did everything by the book on so many different levels. Like, is it the lack of education to the guests? So we even made like a good neighbor brochure that we put in all of our listings now. And it just talks about, hey, these are statewide bills. This is what your neighborhood, you know, and it just kind of breaks it down as a guest perspective. Like, hey, just be considerate. And we've gotten a lot of really good compliments from guests on how to get involved, have to leave a little testimonial, not just a review. It's been really helpful because guests are like, oh, I don't know if I really thought about it like that, or I didn't see it like.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the sign. It's kind of like the sign outside of the club, you know, that says like, have fun in here, but respect our neighbors. And like people usually follow that, you know, they're like, yeah, I'm having fun and it's late at night and it's 2 a.m. and I'm in a bar, but like, I appreciate that there might be some families sleeping there. So I'm not going to be a jerk and I can be quiet, you know, like people will get along if like, you just got to like, let them know. Like it's very straight.
Yeah. I can't, you got to let them know, hey, it's not a total free for all. Like, come on, let's calm down. Like I want you to enjoy yourself and have fun, but I want you to come back also.
Yeah, exactly.
That's super cool. And like, I appreciate this small talk with you. It's super fun. I know that you're like insanely busy and, your time is amazing. So if there's any like closing words that you'd like to share, or any, you know, how, like if I'm helping somebody right now that is considering, you know, like if somebody's brand new and they want to jump on Hostfully, what does that step look like, and how can they, I'll put the link down below, but how could they start setting it up if they have one listing and they're like, or a few and they want to change?
So, you know, our team is amazing and they will help you. So I'm just going to say it, like, get on our website, engage with somebody on the chat, or send an email, or sign up for a demo and attend one of our demos. Like, just get going. Our team is really good at welcoming people and helping people feel comfortable with moving forward. So like, you can email me, margot@hostfully.com, but I'm actually not the best person even to help you. Like, just if you just start engaging with us, you'll get in the door. So yeah, I would just say, like, engage with us. Like, we're really excited to talk to you. Don't be afraid of making the big choices, the big decisions. Just reach out. We're thrilled to talk to you. Don't be afraid of asking dumb questions. Our team's on standby. We also, if we're not the right solution for you, we'll tell you too. So like, don't be worried to come in and just ask questions. You don't have to make a commitment or anything. Because I actually kind of hate being sold to, so I'm like respectful of that with other people. Yeah.
I never felt that at all with you guys once.
Yeah.
You guys through my whole portfolio and looked and like, okay, yeah. It was never like, you must sign with us, now give us.
No, we want the best, we want the best thing for everybody. If a customer's not a good fit, it's not a good fit for us too. So it's like, and we'll recommend other stuff, or, we'll say, oh, you're not ready or whatever, but it's for the most part, like, everybody's on it. So, but yeah, it's a pleasure talking to you, John.
Yeah.